The ability to fly is an utterly enthralling one in the realm of video games, as it is in our reality too. The freedom to go at first anywhere on the screen, and later anywhere in the virtual world that you inhabit, is an unparalleled delight. A feeling that your limitations have been removed, and nothing can stop you from sailing the skies except your own errors and maybe these moai heads. However, while flying might feel absolutely fantastic, it's a novelty that wears off pretty quickly as soon as you explore the skies and players ask, okay, what next? Flight-focused games usually require players to have something to do, like flying through rings or obstacles and shooting down enemies to limit the freedom that airborne gameplay provides. Platformers and exploration-focused games have to be especially conscious of this, as while the initial rush of first taking off and defying gravity can be even more intoxicating than a game dedicated to flight. Like, what's the point of level design if you can just float over and zoom to the exit?
That was easy!
Thus, in these cases, flight either has to be restricted by a resource, restricted by a specific area or zone, or restricted by being more akin to gliding, with limited options to ascend. Still giving the player wings and the freedom flight provides, but finding out how much they have to clip those wings in order to keep level design engaging. That is where Mika comes in. Mika and the Witch's Mountain is currently in development for Switch, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. I was fortunate enough to get in touch with the developer, Chibig Studios, and got to play around in this demo before it was publicly available. They have a Kickstarter going on right now that has presently smashed its goal, but still has a couple days left as of this video's release, if anything you see here piques your interest. Just getting that out of the way, full transparency, I approached them because I thought the game looked cool and they have been super nice to me. We good? Alright. Inspired by the Studio Ghibli film Kiki's Delivery Service, along with the vibes of A Short Hike and the artistic stylings of Wind Waker, Mika is an absolutely charming little game. You're a cute little witch in training tasked unceremoniously by her master to fly to the top of a big mountain under her own power. To accomplish this, Mika will need to perform some delivery jobs around the Island of Winds to earn some scratch, pay for better brooms and equipment, and probably learn some lessons along the way. Already, we can tell that this game is going to savor every step of Mika's journey, rather than dedicating itself to the true path of her destination. And that is more than fine, because basic movement here is a blast. If there's one thing that a Kiki-inspired game absolutely needs to get right, it's the feeling of flight. And Mika provides an endlessly rewarding solution. The devs posit that flying around should feel as natural and comfortable as walking. And as such, you can hop on your broom at any time to jump off and take to the skies.
Whoosh!
As far as Mika can ascend with her current broom, at least. She's still in training and needs some good equipment. After reaching her maximum height, Mika will slowly descend toward the ground, but will never actually touch it unless she halts her momentum completely, maintaining her speed all the way through the descent, creating this really fun, flexible, and cozy glide that just feels good to control. So, cool, Pier. You describe gliding. I too have played Breath of the Wild, I hear you say. Fair. But in addition to simply having more momentum to work with than the sailcloth, Mika also has the perfect mechanic for ascent. Whenever Mika is close to the ground, she can lift off yet again, absolutely seamlessly. This does not have to be the same elevation she started at. If you manage to get to a higher vantage point in flight, you can boost right off of that. And the next highest bit. And the next highest. And the next highest. This takes the basic concept of platforming getting from one platform to another in order to scale a big thing, and adds flight not as an alternative, but as a seamless complement to that. Anywhere you want to go, you just have to scope out the terrain, figure out how to glide over and access it, and boom! That new height is your new vantage point, letting you scout out anywhere that you can see and try to figure out how you can get to the next one. And considering Mika's leisurely rate of descent and surprisingly strong air mobility that never gets interrupted even when you make touchdown, the simple act of getting from point A to point B doesn't feel like two rigid steps with a definitive start and end, but a seamless continuation of your momentum, cruising through as you continue your journey. The only inhibitor to your endless ride being your own skill and how high Mika can take off every time. And that is the joy of flight. The thrill of takeoff combined with the absolute liberation of soaring around, absolutely untouchable, cruising wherever you please beyond the confines of the ground below. Obviously, this does lend itself to potential platforming challenges, but what I feel makes Mika special is that it's not entirely interested in providing them, at least not too often. There are wind gates and updrafts that can help Mika along and boost her through passages and challenges. But this is a delivery-focused game after all. From what we've played, much of the title's focus seems to be exploring the land around Mount Gone, seeking out new areas, cute vistas, meeting new characters, eventually using that knowledge to figure out the most effective and safe way to get your deliveries off without a hitch. The best compliment I can give to Mika and the Witch's Mountain is that its world just feels nice to move around in, see where you can go, and get to challenges whenever you feel like. There's a strong sense of progression to get better brooms and hike up the mountain, eventually, but just figuring out what you can, wandering about, having fun going place to place, you're free to just enjoy a lovely little world, where your mastery of it isn't determined by how fast you beat the game, but by your own satisfaction. This, I feel, is where Mika will truly shine. There's reason to latch onto this game as a potential platforming challenge. The physics are great, you maintain momentum incredibly well, you get a nice bit of coyote time, so there's ample opportunity to make some awesome tests of skill. But that's just a nice compliment to the heart of this little witch. The main goal of the game isn't to test, but to unwind. And that's a design space that's only occasionally tapped into in kinetic titles like this, but always appreciated. Some of the most memorable areas in games are those moments in between stages. Quiet contemplation as you see just where you can push your character, enjoy the environment they live in without stress, indulge in every little side activity you can get your hands on, and only worry about the destination when you're good and ready. Mika and the Witch's Mountain may not be finished yet, but promises to be a whole game built on that freedom. Chibig focusing mainly on the peace that comes from being away from everything, and feeling both control of the situation and the perspective of where you are. All captured with nothing more than a simple control idea, some great game feel and progression, and a whole world filled with wonder and charm. And I just think it's kinda beautiful. I can't wait to see this adventure unfold. This is, both in practice and spirit, how you design for flight.